This is the last lesson before another revision exercise and the final one for this lessons spreadsheet. We're going to start creating a lessons 2 spreadsheet after this one, and that's partly because we're going to start finding it slowing down and we're overworking our poor little spreadsheet here. So what are filters? Well, to see these, we've actually seen them in part, but I've removed them because they appeared naturally and we didn't want that. So what I'm going to do, we're going to go back to the VLOOKUP and I'm going to select all of the 100 data points in this group here. And I'm going to copy that, Control C, I've got the dancing ants, so go to the filters and simply right click, paste the values. So they're there. And I'm just going to double click, just going to expand that. You should be all used to that by now, hopefully. If not, just click in the top corner, anywhere between, double click, and it will naturally extend or contract. Now, what I can do, and what I did do on one of them, was to select data here, and I put these into last name order, if you remember. Now, I did that simply by going to Home and then going across to the Sort and Filter. And I have a number of choices. Where the active cell is, if I say, okay, sort A to Z, then it will do so. And if I then try to move that across to there, if I then tell it to sort, that was the tab key, by the way, I pressed the tab key to move across. If I then tell it to A to Z, it will do it by this column here. It's recognizing that that's a header, and so it's organizing it by then. So I can use the sort and filter, and that's A to Z. This is called, it's a sort, and it's an incremental sort, so it's increasing in order, A, B, C, D. And if there were numbers, it will go 0 to 9 and so on. So this is a descending sort, which goes from Z to A, and that's fine. But I also have a custom sort, so I can choose that, and I can do this quite nicely. So there's the one we've just done. Sort by name first, cell values, and then that. So let's change that to name last. But what I can do is add another level, and this is where this sort becomes nice and handy. So I can then say, okay, once you've sorted by last name, sort by first name. Same thing, cell values, A to Z. Now, because we've not got any names, surnames that are the same, then that doesn't make much difference. But it does sort them out. So if I had Frank Eugenia, and I decide that is Eugenia Frank, and if I had another Frank in there, let's just change Tony's name to Frank in there. So last name is Frank, and he doesn't want to be called Tony, he wants to be called Anthony. So we've got that. So if I now select that data there, and we're looking at our Frank here and the Anthony there, then if I then go to custom sort and I've looked at those two, then what I should be able to do is apply that, and it's now swapped them because Anthony comes before Eugenia. Hasn't moved Frank because that's in the correct order. So it's not moved those because they're correct, but it's swapped these two around. The whole row has been swapped around. So these sorts are really handy. But the really useful part of this is if I click on this first one where the headings are along the top, and I only need to click on any one of them, I can then say sort and filter and click on this one that says filter. And it gives me these little drop downs. Now what I'm going to do again is click up there and expand these. And what that allows me to do is I can now click on here and I get all of the names given here, all of them. And if I wanted to, I could then say, well, don't select all of them, but let's just choose Frank and click OK. Now, instantly you can see how useful this is. I can now just see the data. Out of 100 names, I'm now focused onto the data I actually want, I actually need. I can filter down and see the groups of people that I want. I can undo that simply by telling it, I can either clear the filter, or if I wanted to, select all, go down to Frank again, click OK. So I've just got the Franks, and I can just say, well, select all. So doing that just allows me to do all of it. So the filter is an incredibly powerful tool. The more data you've got, the more useful it is. And I can tell it to sort now by age, or by city, or by date, and I can do all of that. So I can see easily all of this data and organize it quickly with a single click. Filters are powerful things, and that's it. That's filters. So what we're going to do next is we're going to look at the gradebook, and in the revision exercise, apply a lot of the things we've looked at over the last few videos to our gradebook and finish off that gradebook. See you in the revision lesson.